Give me that, I gotta. Hey, cause y'all ain't. Give me that, I gotta. Cause y'all ain't. Give me that, I gotta. Amp it up, cause y'all ain't loud enough. I gotta amp it up, cause y'all ain't loud enough. See, no, amp it up, it ain't loud enough. Been plugged in, I'm powered up. Got more time in, I'm houred up. Blessings coming down, I'm showered up. We got the fame and the name, yeah, you heard of us. Ways you can do the same, you ain't heard enough. We'll grab a seat, grab a plate, yeah, we serving up. Won't cost a thing, free game, yeah, we serving up. Yeah, amp it up, loud enough. 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 Amp it up, loud enough.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad C. No Roper, and you are tuned in live to Amplifier. Now, listen, this is a special edition of Amplifier because there's not often times we have legends in the building. There's not often times we have moguls in the building. There's not often times we have icons in the building. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I did something special for y'all. Y'all owe me big for this one because now I went online and searched this queen of an icon, and I found some stuff. But I ain't found nothing like what we're getting ready to do today. I am Chad C. No Roper, your host and the proprietor of Amplifier. And we have a legend, a mogul. Now listen, if you're thinking about doing philanthropy, you might want to talk to her. If you're thinking about starting a business, you definitely want to talk to her. If you're thinking about playing a little basketball, you can holler at her too about this now. Now, if you're thinking about going to church or starting a church or knowing how the church runs, she been doing it since I've been born. Trust me, she's what we call the GOAT at this. I'm talking about none other than the mogul, the Milwaukee Bucks minority owner, Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter. Everybody show her some love. How you doing, Dr. Daniels-Carter?
Hello, Chad. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Now, Pete, now listen, this was such a big deal. People was like, how in the world did you get her to do this? And I said, favor ain't fair. That's all I said, left it alone right there.
You better know.
So, Dr. Daniels-Carter, let's talk about Dr. Daniels-Carter, the high school version of yourself.
Okay.
In high school, what were you doing, Dr. Carter?
Wow. I won't tell you what year.
Yes, ma'am.
But not many years ago.
Yes,
what
ma'am.
About that?
Here we go.
I played high school basketball. I was on track and field in high school. And I wasn't the greatest high school student. I was a good high school student, but not the greatest high school student. But very involved and engaged.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So in the high school years, playing on those teams, because I know I played high school sports as well. I played baseball, and I knew that playing for those teams, and actually I was the captain of the team, it taught me something about leadership, and it also taught me that the other players was looking up to me in a way where I couldn't slack off. Did you have any experiences similar to that?
Well, I think the other thing it teaches you is discipline.
Yes, ma'am.
And so when you're involved and engaged in high school in something meaningful such as the arts or sports or special events other than just the education, it adds value to who you are.
Yes.
And I think that's what we really need to instill in our young people today. Mm-hmm. Do well in school, but then engage yourself, because some of those relationships will be lifetime relationships. Some of the people I went to high school with, I still know them today. And you can't replace that kind of connectivity. So, yes, it is vitally important to do well, but it's more important to make sure that you embrace one another. And when I look back on it, high school for me wasn't probably like for some, because I was in an environment where there weren't many African Americans in that environment.
Yes.
And so I had to learn how to be multicultural at a time where it wasn't that convenient. Mm-hmm. And that also, really taught me how to balance life.
Yes.
Because you have to shake off what doesn't belong on you. Mm-hmm. And once you learn how to shake off stuff that don't belong on you anyway, you just keep moving forward. You get light.
Absolutely. See, I like when you went there, when you said you had to learn to be multicultural when it wasn't convenient. Now, that's a skill that some young people may not understand today, but I know not too long ago when you were in high school, that was a big deal, a big situation. What were some of the ways you maneuvered in that area, in that space?
Well, it was interesting because you really didn't know you were in that space until you got in that space. And you noticed little, just small things that were somewhat different. And you just had to be smart. You had to use wisdom. I had some phenomenal parents that taught me how to navigate in tough situations. And it doesn't make you feel good when you go to a track meet and everybody else is coalescing around each other, and you're sitting there trying to get ready and prepared, and no one comes and pats you on the back. You have to tell yourself, get up, girl, keep moving, because you're going to win this race.
Absolutely.
And so then at the end of the race, everybody's hugging you and loving on you. And so you have to learn how to manage in the isolation space.
Absolutely.
So you can have the opportunity to expand yourself down the way.
I hope y'all caught what she put. I hope y'all picking up what she putting down. You have to make sure you are adaptable. You are able to adapt in all surroundings. Now, moving past high school, we getting into the college years. The party time. No, not too long ago.
Oh, not too long ago.
So now we're in the college years. I know this, but for those who are watching, what college did you attend?
I went to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri.
And how were those years?
It was probably one of the best seasons of my life because not only did you embrace individuals that were motivated to be better than what they were, you also had the opportunity to have a lot of fun while learning. Okay?
Yes.
And unfortunately for me, my father died when I was a senior in high school, and so my first year of college, my brothers, I had decided that I wasn't going to go to college.
Okay.
And my brothers told me that you're going to college, and you're going to make something of yourself, and you're not going to sit here, all depressed because your father's gone or our father's gone. So I thank God today for them because I really wanted to kind of get in a little shell and shelter myself because I was a daddy's girl, and, all of a sudden, this hero in my life had been taken away from me. And my brothers forced me to look beyond that moment. And so I got to college, and my mother had 8 children. So it wasn't a situation where we had a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had to work. I had to have, student engagement. I was the dorm counselor. I worked at the grocery store, just trying to make it, to the next season or the next semester. So I really had to enjoy college because not only did I have to work really, really hard to stay there, I also had to understand that I was setting the foundation for my future.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had some great years at Lincoln. I played college ball at Lincoln and enjoyed those years at Lincoln University.
I love it. See, these are things that people may not know about you that I really want to touch on because you're so famous and popular. I'm in the airport. I walk up to Aunt Val like, what you doing in here? She don't know. What are you doing in here? And she got an entourage with her. I was like, well, we sitting next to each other on the plane. But I want to make sure that we had this, not just for the family, but just for the world, because I want them to understand what it takes, what discipline, what steps it took, how meaningful relationships are to get where you are today. And you've been doing this for years, since I've been alive, for sure. So that's why I want to walk back further than most people start. Now, when you get out of college, did you meet somebody? Did you date? Was there somebody that used to take me to get a haircut I felt like every week to get fresh when I had, mind you, I did have hair, ladies and gentlemen. I know it don't look like it now, Mr. Clean, but there was a time when me and a gentleman that she knew used to go get our haircut right there off of Atkinson and Moses Tatum's house to get a haircut. Right. And we would go to Burger King afterward to eat after our haircuts. That's right. So did you meet somebody?
And you would eat free, wouldn't you?
I'm talking about free ain't the word. I was trying to get stuff. I was just trying stuff.
Absolutely. I met the love of my life. it's kind of an ironic story because when and I was sharing this story with someone the other day. When I graduated college, I came home, started working for First Wisconsin National Bank. It was called it's U.S. Bank today, but it was called First Wisconsin National Bank. And a senior woman that I love dearly came into the branch, and she said, "I want you to meet my son." And I said, "I know all of your sons, and I don't want to meet any of them." She says, "No. You got to meet my son, Jeff." I says, "Jeff?" She's known me. Has known me all my life.
Yes.
I've known her all of the years that I've, had breath in my body. I never knew she had a son named Jeff. I knew all of the rest of her sons. I said, "Well, where did you hide him?" I said, "Because the other 5,
Yeah. Yes.
there's a little something going on with that." I said, "Those cute boys, I'm not looking for a cute boy. I'm looking for a man that, understands me." She says, "No, I want you to meet him." And so she introduced us. My mother-in-law introduced us, and when she introduced us, it was amazing because he was literally, initially, nothing that I thought I wanted. Okay? I said, "Why do you say that?" Because I had this engagement that I was already in with a gentleman that was very, very profound, and we had marched and made some decisions in life, and here comes Jeff to bust up everything. But we connected. And because we connected spiritually and we connected emotionally, it was something that I didn't have in that other relationship. The other relationship was more of a facade.
Yes.
It looked good. We looked good together. We could speak the same language. We could profile. But there was not that underlining sense of connectivity. And if you don't have that in a relationship, something's missing. I don't care what they look like. So after 5 years of dating, we finally got married. So I married the love of my life.
Yes, ma'am.
And I got to tell you, Chad, it was the best relationship I ever created.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That says a lot, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I remember how Uncle Jeff was. And the things he would teach me in the time I would spend with him. This was prior to Jay Allen coming around. You know what I'm saying? Jay Allen wasn't even on earth yet. And it would be me, Lil Phillip, BK, and Andy. And he would take us all to get haircuts. And we used to call dropping game back. The game he would drop on us as young men, boys to men, because it was like from age 12 to I think I was 18 or something like that. And one thing he always taught us was how to cater to a woman. And this is what he would do. He would take us to get our hair cut. He would take us to get something to eat. And then while we were in the car, now mind you, this was prior to us having smartphones. We didn't have smartphones back then. We just, they had cell phones, but they was like the brick. If you hit somebody in the head with it, you kill them. You know what I'm talking about? You plug it to the ashtray. He would call in Val once he was getting ready to drop us off and on the way home to see if she needed something. We picked that up. We noticed anytime you heading home, you call home to see if something is needed. To this day, I do that right. When I leave here and I'm going to where I'm going, I'm going to call to make sure, see if something was needed. And in that, just little small things like that was things that I picked up at the age of 12, 13, 14 that I do right now at the age of 46, right? So, and then there was another thing he said. He said, one thing you never do, nephew, no matter what the day has brought you, you never go to bed angry. Right. That was something he always said to me. And that was something I take into even if I got to go chill for a minute before I get ready to go and make it right. I learned that from Uncle Jeff. And I wanted to touch that briefly because I wanted people to understand what connection looks like.
Exactly. And let me just share this with you. Jeff, and I can talk about him now, my husband's deceased, But Jeff, unbeknown to me, worked 2 jobs for 5 years. And a lot of my friends know this. And every paycheck from his second job, he deposited into an account. And on our wedding night, he gave me the savings account book and said to me, it's time for you to go start your business. So he was the catalyst that supported me. I had no idea, but he saw in me what I couldn't see in myself. So when I'm talking about that connectivity, he was able, like you said, he would go get the young men in the community. I don't know if you remember this, but he never wore jeans.
I absolutely remember that. Yes, ma'am, I remember.
And I used to say to him, well, why don't you just put on a pair of jeans? He says, no. He says, because these young men have to see what success looks like. And if they see it in a different way, they will appreciate it. So he would go to NBA games, and people thought he was a player because he was so tall.
Yep.
He wasn't a player. And he was comical because he'd be in a mink jacket and a suit, and people would run up to him and say, can I have your autograph? He said, sure. And he'd sign, stuff for people. I said, what did you put on there? He said, Jeff Carter. I said, they never asked you what team you played for. And he said, no, they just wanted a signature.
Right.
He said, you have to look like what you want to be like.
That's a fact.
And so he wanted to instill that in young men.
Absolutely.
So he would go through and get his nephews and get young men in our community and get, young guys at the church and say, come on, let me show you something.
Yeah, yeah, and everything she's saying is true. When I had hair, we're going to go back to that part, right? The way I had the 360 waves, because that's what Uncle Jeff had, right? So I had the 360s, the Caesar, right? And Uncle Jeff used to get this part, and I remember that. So I'd be like, man, why you get that part, man? It's what you call an accent. It's what you call it. You got to give him the accent. So now I said, okay, cool. So the next time we go, I'm trying to get an accent. I tell Moses, hey, Moses, can you give me 3 on down the side? One longer, one shorter than that. I got that from Uncle Jeff. It was crazy. But that was my way of saying, oh, you got 1 accent, but I got 3, dog. So now, okay, now you said Uncle Jeff gave you the money to start your business. Yes. What was the first thing you started? What was the business you started?
First business I started after college was absolutely Burger King.
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't easy at that time. I started in 1982 with my first Burger King restaurant. And it was a very difficult process, simply because I was young, I was an African American, and I was a female.
Yes.
So in many circles, that would have been a strikeout.
Yes, ma'am.
But not in God's circle. And so faith and favor, as you know, will take you where something else won't.
Absolutely.
So I literally had to go through almost a 2+ year process to even get approved for my first restaurant. But I had diligence, and I didn't stop, and I didn't let anything stop me until I was able to get it.
Now, when you got that first Burger King, the Burger Queen herself, get that first Burger King, financially you're bringing in whatever you're bringing in. So now what reason I want to touch this area is because I want people to understand when you get something moving and going, you have to learn how to grow it. Now, and that Dr. Daniels-Carter got her first. Now, I don't know if she know how many restaurants she got nowadays, but I know it's over 100 and something, way over 100. But which means she had to take that one and do something. So what was your process as a business person, as a business owner, to scale?
Absolutely. You have to see yourself in the future. And I saw myself bigger than one restaurant. And so I knew in order to be able to scale, I had to take the profits that I made from that first restaurant and consolidate them, save them, and make them work for me so I could get my second restaurant and then my third restaurant, and then I went from 3 to 7, and then from 7 to 11, then from 11 to 16, then from 16 to 31. So I had to create that culture around me.
Yes.
And I never forget this. I was with a friend of mine, and we were driving one day, and I looked at something that I wanted to buy, and she said to me, "You got a Burger King? Just buy it."
Right.
I said, well, I can make a choice. I can make a choice to satisfy myself today, or I can make a choice to create a future for me.
There you go.
I said, and so where this thing I want to buy right now, 2 years from now, it won't be worth nothing.
Yes.
I said, but if I take the same amount of money that I need in order to buy this asset or to buy this thing, and I invest it the right way, I'll be able to buy 100 of those. And she couldn't conceptualize that at that time. But just a few months ago, we were sitting in a space. She says, I never understood what you said. She says, but I've learned that lesson. She said, now, it's taken me a little while to learn it. She said, but I've learned how to manage and understand that every priority is not an urgency.
Yes.
And so we have to understand, is something a priority or something an urgency? And I look at my life today. My life today is about intergenerational transfer. That's why I can sit here with a young man like you that I know has God-given talent, potential, and ability, and just try to transfer as much of my learning and as much as my knowledge into you, because you've got so much future ahead of you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Auntie. Did y'all catch that? I hope y'all caught it. Or y'all can go back and rewatch this. But listen, so now that you scaled and you've gotten as many establishments as you wanted, how do you then pivot to say, okay, now I want to go do a school in Africa, or I want to go do a professional basketball team? What is the thought process in the pivot going from the restaurant business, which is service, to another part of service, which is just school?
Well, it really is. Chad, I had an opportunity to go to Africa, and it changed my life.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I came back home, I reached out to some of the other African-American Burger King owners, and I said, I want to build a school in Africa. And they said, if you want to do it, we'll help you. And so we got together, and we built a school outside of Kenya that services 725 kids that either one or both parents had died from AIDS. And we built that school, and we built the complex, and it was just an amazing experience. And after doing that, it energized me. So every year, I'm back in Africa doing something, or either Ghana, doing something to help, encourage. In the last 7 years, we've started over 2,700 women in business in Africa. And we've seeded capital to start all of their businesses. And we did that because all they needed was somebody just to believe in them and to give them a little help. They had the wherewithal, the smarts, the energy to get it done. They needed structure. And so we take them through a training process, preparing them for business. And once we think they're equipped and ready to go, then we sow into their lives. So when I go back now and we see women, both young and old, some women started older, groups of women that started together in all kinds of businesses. Businesses I never could even conceptualize. They were there doing it, for somebody else or doing it basically and not being able to be compensated for it.
Yes.
But now they're compensated for it. Now they've created it. So for me, that's just part of my life now. It's who I am. It's part of what I do every day. And then we went from the empowerment, and we continue to do the empowerment program to do a medical camp days over there. So when I go over, we spend at least 2 days. Doctors and physicians go over with me. And we see, last year, I think in one camp, we saw over 800 patients. In the next camp, we saw close to 900 patients. So we'll see over 1,500 individuals that have never had any kind of medical attention. And these doctors that go with me are all friends of mine. And, it's a thing that we've almost embraced, that we want to be in a position to be able to be a help. So do I enjoy it? I absolutely enjoy it. And I'm just blessed, to be able to say that I have the ability to help and support. And we don't just do it in Africa, here in the States.
Yes.
You know, we're involved in a number of initiatives promoting and garnering help for others. So at this point in my life, I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me, so I got to make them mean something.
Absolutely, you got to make them count. And in that process of the philanthropy process, because I'm in that stage right now as we speak, what were some of the obstacles, especially the international obstacles, that countries or states try to put in your way so they can keep the people at a certain, you know what I'm talking about without saying it. What are some of those obstacles?
It's amazing. I built a hospital in Africa about 4 years ago. So we built the hospital. And, you know, I got to tell you, the team that built the hospital were all individuals from the community. And so when we got ready to equip the hospital, I had companies in the U.S. that said, hey, I can donate this piece of machinery, I can donate that. So we got all the machinery together. We shipped it over to Africa. And, of course, they consider everything we have, for the most part, state-of-the-art.
Yes.
And when they saw that equipment coming over for the hospital, besides, you know, extra tariffs and all of that kind of stuff, you know, it was just a difficult situation. But they didn't realize they were also dealing with a crazy woman.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
And sometimes, you know, you have to bring out your crazy.
Absolutely.
And so I said, look, this is not going to happen this way. I'm bringing this stuff over here to help your people. And if I got to call the president, I'll call somebody to get my stuff released. They had it held up in customs, I want to say, Chad, for about 6 months.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, it is sometimes difficult. But if you got, you know, weak knees, you'll bend.
Absolutely.
And you can't be in a situation where you allow yourself to have a vision, to believe in something, and allow somebody that has no control over you to stop you from getting to where you're going. So, yes, the challenges are there, and that's what you call them.
Yes.
They're challenges, but in life, you're going to have some good days. You're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some days where you're going to have to reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing. And I could have just hit my head up aside, you know, hit my head with my hand and said, oh, man, I'm just going to let them have that equipment. Oh, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that wasn't getting ready to happen.
I know.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So literally, you know, I laugh at my own self sometimes, you know, because you can't take down when you know you're right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason why I asked that is because what our community doesn't understand is obstacles are opportunities for those who are determined. And I want them to understand everything that you have been through when we talked about high school, college, the beginning of inception of Burger Kings, and now the philanthropy space, is that in each area of those pieces, we talked about the race issue, there was an obstacle that you had to put in its place. I'll say it that way. And we think because of how the world is today, everything is insta this and fast that and that type of thing, that those who last understand the difference between their price and their value. This is an example of somebody who understands what their value is. And we as a community have to understand the difference between what our price and our value. Now, get paid your price in certain situations, but when you understand what your value is, the equipment is going to get to the hospital. You understand what I'm saying? The one Burger King going to turn into whatever we got today. We ain't going to be all in the business like that, but you get what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So I want to make sure I said something about that, is that when you have people or a person who understands what their value is, it allows those of us who come behind them to understand what our values are, because of we saw it. Sometimes you have to just see it to believe it. When I grew up, I saw what success looked like. I was able to call or hang out with success. But there were friends of mine who didn't get the opportunity to see it firsthand, so I would allow them to come with us to see what success looked like. And the reason why I wanted to bring Dr. Daniels-Carter here today because I wanted people to understand that someone from here are doing things, no matter what country or state I'm in, they know her. There was one time that she don't know about. I was in a different country, and I was having some issues with, I'll call them law enforcement, but they really weren't really law enforcement, if you get what I'm saying. And I pulled a nephew card. And when I pulled that nephew card, I was let go within, and mind you, I was not doing anything illegal, for the record. If I'm doing something illegal, I wouldn't let nobody know I was kidding her, just so you know. But this was all legal. But once I let that card be shown, it was a different conversation, an apologetic conversation. But that was because of what was laid before me. So, Dr. Carter, Dr. Daniels-Carter, let's talk about the decision to pivot again into the ownership space of a sports franchise. I know that was your sport, so we understand that part. We know that the love for the game. I done seen you go crazy at games before, so we know that part. But what made you say, you know what? I think I want to dip my toe in over here right quick. What gave you that?
Well, you got to be able to see beyond where you are today. When I was in college, Chad, I played with the ball. Today, I own the ball.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you have to see yourself in a space where can't anybody else see you. And when the Bucks organization needed to make sure that they embraced community involvement, I wanted to be the first one at the table. And it's not easy, and all of you know it's expensive. It's not a cheap proposition. But had I not built the stepping stones along the way, I never would have had the ability to write that check. But baby, when you got the ability to write the check, you got to tell me why I don't qualify.
There you go.
And so that's what I want to instill in people today, is that don't take light your current position, because eventually, if you do the right things, and the other thing I want to do is tell you not to hang around people that are negative, because negativity will drag you down. It will cloud your space of influence. You want to hang around people that are going places and people that are not afraid for you to go places. See, it's okay if you go in there, you know, but when it's a situation where I got to help you and push you to go there, you got to hang around people. And all of my friends, I don't care how broke they are. And I got some broke friends.
We all do.
But all of my friends understand that we celebrate each other's success.
Yeah.
And literally, I tell you, I can pick up the phone right now and call somebody that I'm very close to, and they'll say, you can do it. And those are the kind of people you have to have in your circle. The ones that you share a vision with, and they say, hey, Chad, make it happen. And, you know, I enjoy, you know, being able to promote individuals like a Chad Roper, because he's not going to let nobody stop him from doing whatever he got to do. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You know, who else picks up the phone and calls me on my cell phone and asks me to show up at their podcast but a Chad Roper?
And mind you, I ain't got enough money to pay her, y'all, so she doing this for free. I can't. I've been to sold my house, all type of stuff, trying to sell my son, you know. So I definitely ain't got enough money to pay her to be here. So she doing it because she want to be here.
So when I tell you my whole life right now is really about empowering other people, that's why I'm doing this conference in October.
Yes.
Because I want our people, our young people, no matter what ethnicity that they are, to understand that there's an inner person inside of you. You wake them up, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I like to do my little soliloquies in between there. What she spoke of was being around people that are invested in you, or the opposite are the people who only want to be around for the announcement? She talked about the people in her circle that invest not just financially, but those emotional investors. Those are the ones you cannot buy, because they was there when you was shooting in the gym, so to speak. You want those people. Now, it's good to have some cheerleaders and people that show up at the game when it's announcement time, when you won your championship. Right. But you need somebody in there when you shooting them jumpers that's getting the rebound and hitting you back with the ball again so you can continue to shoot those jumpers. So make sure you didn't miss, though, having the investors in your life, not just financial, just investors in your life, and those who are around for the announcement, because you need both. But you can't keep the ones that are just around for the announcement too close. Did y'all miss that? I don't want y'all to miss that, because she's dropping them, but I just want to make sure y'all picking them up, all right? So now, we got this conference.
Yes.
Where you dropping all of this game for 3 days.
3 days.
3 days worth of, now listen to me. I know you watching us. I see it's about 200 of y'all watching us online right now. And we got a room full of people. Now, she's dropping gems right here for free. Now, this ain't the real game she's going to be dropping in October, the 30th, right, Auntie?
October 30th.
Starting October 30th. So now, let's talk about what made you want to do the conference first.
Okay. Well, the first, and I'm going to be very transparent with people today. I was asked initially to do the conference for very high-profile women that had extremely high net worths and very successful men that were in a certain financial position. And they only wanted me to invite 24 of these individuals and share with them nuggets for the future. And I understood the reasons why. They said, you know, if you price the conference at $15,000, $20,000, and these are the individuals that have already committed to come and hear you speak, you'll be fine. And I wrestled with that, because that was not now, I may do that conference just to get that 15 to 20, you know.
Yeah, for sure. We ain't going to leave it on the table.
Right, we ain't going to leave that on the table.
Yeah, we ain't going to leave it on the table.
But I wrestled with that in my spirit, because I saw so many young entrepreneurs, so many young leaders in corporate America. Had I had somebody like a Valerie Daniels-Carter 40-something years ago to pour certain nuggets of wisdom into me the way I want to pour into young people, I probably would be reckless. Y'all probably wouldn't be able to even stand me, to be honest with you. So I made a conscious decision to reach out to young entrepreneurs, to price the conference to where young corporate leaders. I was in corporate America. I worked for MGIC Investment Corporation. I worked for U.S. Bank. So I know what it takes to excel corporately. I know the games you have to play. You know, I know when you have to change to be exchanged. Y'all gonna get that down the road.
They gonna catch it.
They gonna catch that.
Yeah.
So literally, I wanted to create a dynamic platform of experts that could pour into the lives of emerging and as well as individuals that were seasoned in their space. So the conference is coming to Milwaukee, October 30th through November 1st, and we're talking about everything scalable for the future. It's called the Excel Conference. You can go to my website at www.valeriedanielscarter.com and find out more about the conference. But Chad, it really is designed not just to come and feel good. I can motivate you in one speech.
Easily.
I can get up on the podcast with Chad and we can talk good, but I want you to leave there with something. I want you to not only leave there with something, but I want you to be able to take it and create it.
Yes.
And so it's about creation of excellence.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm going to be one of the presenters, of course, but we have Roland Martin coming, you know, and Simon Bailey coming. We have some phenomenal experts on financial management coming to help you to understand how to properly structure. You know, you don't even realize the difference that 1 point can cost you in your business.
Absolutely.
But if you see it in real numbers, you see it in reality, and you say to yourself, I just lost that kind of money just because of the lack of knowledge, this conference is coming to give you knowledge.
And what she's saying is the gospel. I turned a business of mine from an LLC to an S corp. And the amount of taxes I saved by turning an LLC, I would have never created an LLC if I'd have known what an S corp was. The lack of knowledge cost me thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars because I didn't understand that corporate structure. So it would, as they used to say in the church when I was coming up, it would behoove you. You remember that at TV being rehearsal?
Oh, yeah.
It would behoove you to make sure you go over to www.drvaleriedaniels-carter.
Valerie Daniels.
Oh, ValerieDaniels-Carter.com. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on on Monday. I'm going to have it put on mke.org. I'm going to put a link to this on for all those who are a part of Amplifier that follow us, the thousands of people that watch us every month. We're going to put this link on our website as well, so that you can go to ValerieDaniels-Carter.com, or you can go to Amp. It's going to be a picture of her, and it'll be the link will be right. I'm probably going to make it where they can just click the picture, but I'm going to put something where you know it, where you can register to her conference. Now I'm going to register too. I ain't gonna even ask for a discount. I'm gonna pay full price, because that way I know I'm gonna get what I want. Because you know how when you spend your own money, I'm gonna be sitting there like this. You know what I'm saying? So, in closing, because I know you got places to be and people to see, what would you like to leave for the young people that's out here watching today, that's daring? Because it was a thing you used to say to me, dare to be different. I remember one time, and Val came by the house to get her nails done. My mom was doing her nails, and she drove it was like a Lexus or something. So I'm looking, and now mind you, we was broke. We was standing on like 16th and Atkinson or something like that, Vienna. And Val pulled up in this shiny Lexus, get her nails. What up, baby? How y'all doing? You know, she waved before she go in. And I said, my little brother said, Arlington, go get the bucket, dog. He's like, what? Man, go get the bucket. Go get the hose. While Aunt Val was in there having a good time with my mama, we was washing her car, right? Because we were trying to hustle some money. But we wasn't hustling. What we was doing, because Aunt Val ain't give you nothing for free. Let's just for the record. So just so you know, you got to put in some work. So Aunt Val came out and said, y'all wash my car? I was like, yeah, we just wanted to make sure you looking good, riding around the city. Listen, now she had on Aunt Val. If you know Aunt Val, she got on a fly suit, but it's like a skirt on the bottom. She reached into her skirt pants, a skirt pocket, or dress pocket. She pulled out the fattest knot of money I've ever seen in my life at the age of 10. It had to be $300,000 in her pocket. I ain't lying. She scrolled past the $1 million bills, the $1,000 bills, and she said, who all helped? Me and Arlington, it was me, Arlington, BK. It was about 5 of us, but only me and Arlington watched the car. She said, so it was only y'all 2 out of all 5 of y'all? Okay. She looked and counted off 2 crispy hundreds. Thank y'all. Y'all keep being good. Everybody else was like, what's up with us? She said, did y'all put in some work? I don't pay people who don't put in no work. Well, we gonna watch it. She said, it's too late. They was about their business. Y'all gotta be about your, now mind you, we 10 and 12 years old, and she telling us to be about our business. Now mind you, $100, man, we might have got sick off candy. I'm talking about we was in the store going crazy off of $100. But what it showed us was, at that age, and it's funny that I'm telling this story because I remember it so vividly, you don't get anything you don't work for. Mm-hmm. It taught us to not be entitled to get anything. When I was a college student at Florida A&M University, as we close, the administration was having issues with the finance department. And I got my degree in chemical engineering, so you can't miss materials. My mother called Aunt Val, explained to her the situation. Aunt Val said, how much is the books? This was at noon. By 3 p.m., I had every book for my classes. And mind you, this was not, I wasn't supposed to have the books. The school, if you went to a black college, you know what I'm talking about. Let me just say that, okay? I went to FAMU, which is a black college. But what Aunt Val did for me was made sure that everything was taken care of because she knew how important education was. And when I got older and tried to pay her back that little money to her, she said, I'll body slam if you give me any money. And I believed her. So in closing, listen, and Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to sow into what I have going on here. This platform was created specifically to help young artists, business individuals, or I should say entrepreneurs, and those who just needed that extra boost in their life to get information from people they wouldn't normally be able, because they can't catch you. They can't just walk up on you. It just don't work that way. And I bring in people that I highly respect and I look up to, and to drop gems that I can't drop, that I can't give them because I'm still learning as well. Even though I had some minor successes in life, I'm still learning. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit here with us and give these tools for us to use in life. And is there any last words you have?
Well, the most important thing for me, Chad, is that I believe you're the type of person that will take all of the gems and tools that you're learning and transfer them to the next generation. And we can't afford to lose generations. We've already lost too many young people right now. So for me, sitting here with your audience and sitting here with those that may be listening, all I can say to you is, number one, I'm a woman of God. So everything I do, everything I believe is because of faith. And when you have faith and you have confidence in your ability and you set yourself up to be successful, you can't wait for success to come to you. Success is not going to walk to you and knock on the door and say, hey, let me in. Sometimes you have to go after the things that were meant for you. And I'm going to tell you this, and in closing, I think our time is out. I want to just tell you this. Life is not going to give you anything. You have to create what you want it to offer to you. And then you have to give God something to work with. You just can't give him a hand. You got to put something in that hand and say, create and help me to create what I need to do. So in closing, I am so grateful, so honored to share this platform with you, because I'm sharing this platform with success. And see, I'm not going to where success has been. I'm going to where success is going. And as long as I know where I'm going, I'm okay.
There it is. So we're going to leave it right there. As we close, show some love for Dr. Valerie Daniels-Carter. And y'all know what I say every day before I close. One thing about a dream, it never expires. Y'all be blessed. Thank y'all for coming out.